What's up, YouTube? Sleepy G here. I'm gonna turn this fan off. Sorry about that. Alright, so what you're looking at here is the Windows 10 Technical Preview Build 9841, as you can see in the bottom right. This is not the default everything that you're looking at here on the desktop. The wallpaper was different, and there was also a link right here under the recycle bin that when you double clicked it, it opened Internet Explorer and it took you to a web page that said thank you for installing and trying it, gave you links to forums, etc. Just kind of basic stuff, so you're not missing anything special. I will show you the wallpaper that came with the default installation. This is actually it in the background here. So this was exactly what it looked like whenever I started up, minus that shortcut. The only reason that it's different is because I'm signed in with my Microsoft account, and that is synced up to my Windows 8.1 OS, which is my primary. So that's what you're seeing here. Also, I've not changed any settings. The only settings that have been changed is whatever settings that are synced up with my Microsoft account from 8.1. Okay, so the installation went smooth. It was relatively fast, even for this being on a virtual machine. I'm running this in VirtualBox. I'll give you the specs that I'm running this in for VirtualBox, just in case anybody is interested. This is the 32-bit preview version. No real need to run 64-bit. 64-bit's better than 32-bit. Provided the better RAM usage and all that. But for something like this, there's no need. I have 2 processor cores assigned to it, along with 2 gigs of RAM. I have VTX AMD-V extensions enabled, along with nested paging, along with PAE and NX. I have 64 megabytes of video memory dedicated to it, along with 2D and 3D acceleration. I have a IDE secondary master add-on, which is a part of the VM, which that would be the Windows 10 ISO, Windows Direct Sound ICH AC97 sound controller. The network adapter is an Intel Pro 1000 MT with NAT. I have USB shared folders, and well, that's pretty much it. I have all that stuff turned off. Trying to keep it very simple and bare bones here, so that we can look at the features that Microsoft is working on with this new operating system. There have been a lot of rumors that I've been seeing around as to why they're calling it Windows 10 instead of Windows 9. Well, one of the rumors, or it's kind of a joke really, but it's because 7, 8, 9, in case you're not getting that, everybody likes Windows 7, thinks Windows 7 is the best. I partially agree with that, and they're saying that 7 is better than anything that Microsoft is coming out with, basically. And yeah, so, and also another thing that I saw was on Imager yesterday, and it was supposedly from a Microsoft dev. It was just an image, because it's Imager, and it was all like there was some code that are in badly coded software. And this actually makes sense now. This is one of the most viable reasons that I've seen, is because some software is coded to where if the Windows version starts with Windows 9, which is in reference to Windows 95, Windows 98, then do this. So that's kind of the code that's set up here. This is the new start menu, by the way. What I'm doing here is I'm trying to find Notepad. Here we go. So like if Windows dot version equals Windows 9, then wait, that wouldn't be like that. It'd be like, then do this, and then it'd be like do all this, and then it'd be like end if. So that's kind of the concept of the coding here. So like if the Windows version starts with 9, then you'd see like a comment here like in reference to Windows 95/98. So I mean that's kind of the most valid reason that I've seen as to why it's not called Windows 9. It's called Windows 10. Um, a lot of people are asking, like why don't they call it Windows 1? In reference to OneDrive and Xbox One and OneNote. The reason for that is because Windows 1 has already been done, Windows 1.0. So Windows 10, just moving the decimal over one place over to the right in reference to Windows 1.0, excuse me, makes the most sense along with that code snippet that I just showed you there. That really makes the most sense. I'm going to open up the File Explorer. As you'll see, this is a new icon. Allow me to resize this real quick. You'll notice that it looks a little bit different than how you're used to seeing it. If you're working with Windows 7, it's definitely different. If you're working with Windows 8 or 8.1, it's slightly different. Alright, so just looking at this, not just the File Explorer, but the entire desktop in general, you'll notice that there's a trend towards flat icons, and arrow is completely gone out the window. I'm kind of sad for that, but I kind of don't really care too much. So we got the flat look, borderless windows, and then if you look at the recycle bin, I mean it's Windows Vista-ish, Windows 7-ish. It has the arrow style. So, but then again, this is tech preview. That's probably just a placeholder. We'll see a flat looking icon come in for that later, I suspect. So let's take a look at the file manager here. I would assume that you would be able to resize this here. I haven't played with this a lot, so some of this that I'm going to be showing you is kind of my first time, or maybe second time doing it. So as usual, you're able to resize this area here, and then here's your tree view. You'll notice there is no My Computer or this PC, except for here. Not even on your start menu. Not even on your start menu. Instead of it being called this PC or My Computer, it is now File Explorer, which you'll see this is what I have open here. I currently, on my main computer, Windows 8.1, I use a program called Clover. It allows for tabbed folders in File Explorer, just like Google Chrome or Internet Explorer or Firefox. It allows for tabbed folder views, and it is awesome, guys. It's awesome. If you've been looking and wanting a tabbed Explorer view, look up Clover, Clover. You can thank me later. Alright, but anyways, moving on. So, the tree view over here is pretty much the same. I don't have anything in any of these except for the C drive and then the virtual editions. Alright, which doesn't work in Windows 10, by the way, for VirtualBox guest editions. That doesn't work in Windows 10 because Windows 10 is such a new release, and I tried to install it with compatibility mode on for like Windows 7, and it got to the end of the install and then it aborted out with errors and shit. So I was like, man, whatever. So this is your File Explorer. Alright, so looking at the taskbar here, you'll see that we have the Windows Store. Yeah, I'm going right to left for whatever reason, I don't know. Alright, so the main thing that you're looking at here is not the Windows Store, but indeed Metro apps on the desktop in resizable windows. Well, mostly resizable windows. As you can see, I can't resize this down any more than it is. That really sucks. But I can go up with it. Alright, so this is your Metro apps on the desktop, and then you'll see this little ellipsis over here, and that gives you a little settings menu for apps on the desktop. It's pretty nifty, pretty nifty. Settings takes you to PC settings, or well, it gives you the option to go to PC settings, but it's the right side slide out menu like you're used to seeing in Windows 8, Windows 8.1. Now whenever you're booting in the desktop, it looks exactly the same as Windows 8. You know, it has the blue logo and it has the little dotted circle that spins, and then it goes to your lock screen, and then you enter your password or your PIN or whatever, and then it boots directly to the desktop. There is no start screen like Windows 8 or 8.1. However, it doesn't mean that the start screen has been removed. You can actually still get to the start screen. Excuse me here while I find what I'm looking for. You would go here, right click taskbar, go to properties, and then you go to start menu tab, use the start menu instead of the start screen. If you uncheck this and click apply, you'll be asked to log out, and then you can log back in, and then it'll take you to the start screen just like it does in Windows 8. Or you could enable that in 8.1. So start screen is still there, it's just disabled by default, goes directly to the desktop, just like Windows 8.1. Windows 8.1 boots to desktop, gives you the option to, but the start screen is still a part of the OS. It's kind of not hidden out like it is here. Supposedly the charms bar is still here. I haven't been able to get it up though. That's what she said, or what he said, or what I said, or her, or whatever. When I point to the upper right corner, show the charms bar. So, I don't know if it's the VM or what, but I can't get it to come up here. So, apparently the charms bar is still here. You have the option to replace command prompt with PowerShell. PowerShell, a lot of people rave about PowerShell, how it's so much better, and I'm sure that it is. However, I don't need that deep of functionality, so I stick with command prompt. In reference to command prompt, let me go to the power menu here by right clicking the start menu, which you can do in Windows 8 all the way up till now, and go to the command prompt. I'm going to go to admin. That was UAC. The sound is glitchy because this is a VM. That little dot's because I clicked there, which I really do not like that. But this is the command prompt, and it allows pasting. Alright, so I'm going to do testing, pasting, shift home, control C, and then control V, bam. Control V now works with command prompt. Thank you, Microsoft. Alright, trying to think of what else. The snapping feature. Windows 7 introduced Arrow Snap, which meant that you could take your windows and you could drag it over to the left side, then you could snap it to the left half, or to the right side, you could snap it to the right half, or up to the top, and then it would full screen it for you. You could also double click the title bar in case you didn't know that, or you could also obviously click the maximize button. But now in Windows 10 you're going to be able to have a little more functionality with your snapping. So obviously you're still able to snap full screen by dragging it up to the top. And now if you drag it over to a corner, it snaps up to a corner like that. And then I'm going to open up the store again. And then if I drag this up to this corner, see that's kind of finicky. Windows apps Metro apps kind of don't like this too well. But it does work partially. You can see that I've played with this before. So let's see that I had this window at this size, and I wanted it to take up half the screen. Hey, I want this. What the fuck, man? Okay, so we can do full screen. Okay. What about the bottom right? Okay, that's such a failure. That's such a failure. It worked a minute ago, I swear. Let's try a different program. Alright, so there's paint, right? And then I'm actually going to take that off of here and then put that over to that side. And then you can take something else, like say another instance of paint, just for example here, and then drag it down to the bottom right. So you could do that, or you could have 4 corners, you know, one over here, one down here, one over here, and then one up here. So that's the new snap feature. And the virtual desktops, everybody has been waiting for this. Now Microsoft actually had virtual desktops available in Windows XP, which you could, if I remember correctly, don't quote me on this, but if I am wrong, please correct me in the comments so that other people will know. And if you see that comment and you know that it is true, then please upvote it. But in Windows XP, you were able to enable virtual desktops by downloading PowerToys from, forget what site, but it was one of the Microsoft sites like TechNet or something, and it was part of the sysinternals suite or something like that. And then you could enable virtual desktops from there. But basically, the point is that it was natively available in XP and has not made a comeback until now with Windows 10 Tech Preview. So let's go through this and take a look at it. It's called Task View, and then when you click that button right here, you have Add a Desktop. So as you can see right now, if I click off of that, I have one desktop, which is what we're used to working with. And then you can click here. Now I have 2 desktops. Oops. Yeah, okay. So I have 2 desktops now. So on this desktop, make sure I'm on desktop 1. I'm going to open up the file manager. Okay. And then I'm going to resize it just a little bit. And then I'm going to go to desktop 2, so you can see it in the preview here. I'm going to go to desktop 2, and I'm going to open up Internet Explorer. I'm going to actually full screen it here. Alright, so now you can see the difference. And if I hover over them, you can see the previews. Alright. Now if you look here, I'm on the first desktop. I have File Manager open. And on the other one, I have Internet Explorer. Now if you look at the Internet Explorer icon here, and you look just under it on the taskbar, you see that it has that underline effect, like it's just the little top part of the little highlight square up under the E. That means that it's open on another desktop. So now you'll see the same thing for File Manager when I go to desktop 2. See how it's under File Manager icon? That means that it's open on another one, on another desktop. Since I'm on a VM, oh wait, Alt-Tab is working. Alright, cool. I was going to say, since I'm on a VM, Alt-Tab isn't working because before it didn't work. Alright, so I have 2 programs open, and 1 program is open per virtual desktop. Let me go to, because I'm about to show something here. Hopefully I can get it to work. This should be the first. Okay, somehow that went back to the second. I did not want that to be open on the second desktop. Let me close that. I only want Internet Explorer on this desktop. Back to desktop 1. Okay, File Manager, Calculator, Paint. Okay, so we have a trio of programs open here on desktop 1. Then I go to desktop 2. I only have 1 program open. But as you can see, I have the highlights. Alt-Tab shows you every single application that's open, no matter what desktop you're on. It shows you every single application that is currently open on your computer. Alright, and then so Internet Explorer is open on desktop 2, I believe. Yes. Alright, so I'm going to go to Internet Explorer, and you'll see that it's just that program open. The rest are minimized, saying that they're open on different desktops. However, I go back to desktop 1. Okay. And then okay, so that was correct. My fault. I'm starting to confuse everybody. I'm sorry. Alright, so yeah, that did work as intended. Okay, good. Okay. And then I go back to Internet Explorer, goes to the second one, the rest of them are minimized down. Alright, good. So that works fine. But if I use the Windows key plus Tab, then you can see that it cycles through your virtual desktops. I'm tapping Tab right now, and it's not working as I thought it would. See, when I do Windows Tab, it kind of brings up the task view, which is what that's called for your multiple desktops. So Windows Tab brings up, okay, this. So you just press Windows Tab and then it would basically open task view. And then Alt Tab goes between every program that's open no matter what desktop. Okay, like I said at the beginning of the video, I've either never tried some of these or maybe once or twice, so please forgive me. Also, you can resize your start menu. I haven't quite been able to do it yet, or figure out how to do it. So I have the resize option here, but it's not working. Maybe it's through properties, and then I can go here, and then I really forget. I mean, I don't forget, but I don't know how to do it. But supposedly you're able to customize the size of the start menu. But I can't figure that out, but supposedly that's a thing. Now, your live tiles over here, you can resize these just like you can in Windows 8 and 8.1. So you could have a ton of tiles over here. And I'm going to put that back to the normal size. Now let's say I wanted PC settings over here where the tiles are. You would right click it and then go pin to start. So then now that's over here. And then let's say I wanted that to be, okay, well I only have two sizes, small or medium. So let's say File Explorer, pin to start. Okay. Resize, only medium, okay. Let's say Paint, pin to start. Resize, okay. Alrighty then, but the point is you can pin multiple applications over to the live tile area. And if it's not a native, like if it's not a Metro app, see that's a Metro app, that's the calendar. But a non-Metro app, something like Paint, you can right click it and run it as administrator, open file location, unpin it from start, pin it to the taskbar. You know, kind of the same stuff that you should be able to do with a non-Metro app, especially run as administrator, because that's a big thing. Especially in Windows 8 and 8.1, that's a big thing. Gamers know this. This is your start menu, your all programs, all apps menu. I'll just scroll through here. And as you can see, there's not a whole lot to look at. I mean, you have your system utilities, ease of access, OSK, speech recognition, then your accessories that you would expect, and then maintenance is empty. This isn't native. This is part of my virtual machine. I was going to show something else, and it completely skipped my mind. Oh yes, if you're going to download the tech preview, make sure that you send feedback to Microsoft. Let me unpin these. Now, whenever you first open the start menu, it's going to look like this, minus this part up here, because that's my account. It's going to look like this. Then you see the Windows feedback right here, and it's also in all apps. Let's get back to the top, and then we're going to scroll down. Windows feedback. Alright, so you can open that app, and you're able to send feedback to Microsoft on recently used applications, or you could go through your categories and find certain things. Um, and then send them some feedback, about how frustrating was it for you to click the start menu. If that was frustrating for you, which I don't know why it would be, but if it was for you to move over and click the start menu, then you could tell Microsoft that. Um, how do you what do you think about the apps not being able to be resized as much as you would like them to? You can't shrink it down any further than this. You can only go up from here. So like this is rock bottom. You send feedback to Microsoft about that. Um, and so on and so on. So I mean that's a really good thing. And if Microsoft had had this app in Windows 8, the original iteration of Windows 8, which technically Windows 8, if they had had this in their preview of Windows 8, Windows 8 probably wouldn't be like it was on release. So it's good that they're adding this in. So please use it if you're going to be using the tech preview. Um, Also, there's a section in there for like all other issues that aren't listed. It's kind of difficult to find it. Let's see. All other apps. So then you can see like what people have submitted, and then you can vote on it. You know, Task View should allow you to drag windows between desktops. You can't do that right now. So what I'm going to do, I agree with that. Task View should allow you to drag windows between desktops. Hey, I agree. Alright. See, they can't respond to everybody. They can't respond directly, but they value your feedback, and they will use it to improve your experience. And this is the first iteration of this tech preview for this OS. So, the more people that gets in on this and sends feedback, the better this operating system is going to be. And then we can get, maybe we can have a new Windows 7. You know what I mean? So let's work towards it. We need something better than Windows 8. 8.1's not bad, but there's a lot that could be done to it that could make it better. And let's hope that it gets through with Windows 10. There's one more thing that I haven't shown you, and that's the search here from the taskbar, which is basically Bing. I mean, that's technically all it is Bing on your taskbar. So you click this, and then you see the trending searches. What most people are searching for right now. The last thing that I searched for was cute cat pictures. I did that before I made this video to show you as an example. It shows you your past searches. If I wanted to use that, so let's say I just typed that in and I pressed enter. You can see that it's using Bing. It's in its own window called Search. If you look in the Start menu, All Apps, and then let me go back to the top, and then you scroll down to the S's, you'll see Scan, then Skype. There is no Search app. So apparently this is an actual app. It's just kind of hidden. I'm not really looking too hard either. So this is basically Bing without a web browser, is all it is. Task Manager still looks the same that it has from Windows 8, Windows 8.1. This is the primary view, or the processes, if you will. And then these little arrows here. Let me find. Okay, the search indexer. Alright, you can see that's using 9.3 megs of memory and nothing else right now. And then this little arrow, you can click that, and you can see, like the child processes of that process. Anti-malware service executable is going through Windows Defender service. Local security authority process, credential manager, security accounts manager. So you can see kind of how processes work with each other and what processes spawn off of others. So that would be useful in tracking down malware. Performance looks the same as it does in Windows 8 and 8.1. The default view here is this one graph, which is the averaging out across all cores. And then you can right click and go to view, switch it to all actual processors, or it's called logical processors. And this should not be 3.08, this should actually be 3.5 gigahertz. But it's not for some reason, but whatever. So there's your CPU graph, here's your memory graph. It shows you how much RAM is in use. Right now, with nothing open, only Task Manager, Windows 10 Tech Preview is using 562 megabytes of memory. The requirements for this is 1 gig, I do believe. I do believe that it's 1 gig of RAM. And then I think it's a gig and a half, or no, I think it's 5. No, I forget. If you want to know, look it up what the Tech Preview requirements are. I'm sorry. I was trying to think. I looked at them yesterday, but I was trying to remember. And you can see your disk usage, your Ethernet usage, along with your IP and your upload and download speeds. App history, how much CPU time. I'm just going through all this in case there's somebody out there that's never seen the Windows 8 Task Manager, which this is the Windows 10 Task Manager, but it's the same in Windows 8. Ah, there's my email. So here's your details, which are actually all your processes, which is what you're probably used to in Windows 7. And then your services, the ones that are running and all that, which you shouldn't modify services here. Click Open Services, and then this is how you should actually manage your services. If you don't know how to get to this screen other than through Task Manager, you would go to Control Panel, Show All Control Panel Items, and then you would go to Administrative Tools, and then you would double click Services. So yeah, this is the Task Manager. As you can see, nothing's changed, but it's still nice to look at. Please excuse my squeaky chair. What's this over here? The cloud. So yeah, here is your OneDrive, which is everything going out to the cloud here. You can right click on this here, and then you can left click, and then it'll show you like this. Alright guys, so that's Windows 10 Tech Preview build 9841. This video was dragged out just a tad bit. A little bit of ranting, a little bit of side commentary here and there, but I felt like I've showed everything that there is to show in this, and I've talked a little bit about everything. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you're able to run virtual machines and you're able to download this, please do, and then send feedback and use all these things. Use everything that you can in this OS, and then send Microsoft feedback and let them know what you think about it. And then look at other people's suggestions and then vote on the ones that you agree with. You know, there may be something in there that you haven't come across or didn't think of, you know, that would actually be a good idea. So go and check it out. As always, hope you've enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe if you wish. Can't say that I'm going to put out more videos soon because it's kind of an off and on thing for me, but I felt this was a good occasion. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you soon. If I can stop the recording. There we go. Take care.